Hello. Hi. Hello, everybody. Shh. T-R-O. I remember that in my high school, Trojans. um, Yay, Moody Trojans. But I know I'm right across Ray High School, so I'm sure we have some Ray High School fans here. Yay. My name is Sylvia Campos. I am your city council woman for District 2. Woo! District 2 covers. It basically starts from Ayers. It used to cover our Swan Hospital, but it's right there on Ayers. Goes all and it also covers like the Tarleton area right up to Greenwood and comes all the way down and covers also like the Padre Staples Mall area. We are, let me tell you that. We're more people, I think, than any other district, if I'm correct, right? I mean, well, and I call us the heart of Corpus Christi because, the older neighborhoods, and we have been the ones that have been neglected. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to go on my soapbox. So anyway, we're here to listen to you, and I want to say thank you to the staff. We've got so many here, but I also want to thank Del Mar for being a good partner, for being just a and let's continue to build those relationships. I would love to extend that to the schools as well, because anyway. So with no further ado, I want to present to you our city manager, Mr. Peter Zanoni. He will be the next hour.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Councilwoman. Great, thank you, Councilwoman, for hosting tonight's meeting. And let's give Councilwoman a round of applause again. She's, yep. A little over a year, I guess, right at this point? Right. So she's excited about tonight, very big advocate for public engagement, and that's why we're here tonight. As the Councilwoman said, I am Peter Zanoni, the city manager. This is one of 5 community input sessions we're having with the community, one in each city council district on the city's proposed budget. And so tonight, one of our business principles is open government, transparent government, engaging the community, and listening to the community. And our goal tonight is for us not to talk much at all, but rather to hear from lead is behind us. Our police chief is there, Chief Mike Markle. Chiefy, thanks for being here. Our fire chief, Brandon Wade in the white, new fire chief if you haven't met him. Yes, let's give him a round of applause. And then we have numerous other lead departments. Some of my assistant city manager team, our CFO is here as well. So we're here to listen, kind of scribing and recording what you'll say. And when we do this across all 5 city council districts, at the final meeting shortly thereafter, we'll give city council a comprehensive report of what was consensus from the community across all 5 city council districts to see what do you want to change in the budget. It could be you want more parks, more libraries. Last year in this room, we heard about monies in for library services, more park amenities. So what you say really does matter. We're not just here to pass the hour and go home. We're here to listen, see where is the consensus and how do we amend the proposed budget that I presented to City Council. So a very important night. We are going to begin the night with a video. There's a 7-minute video that we're going to show in City Council District 1 on Monday. And the video is online as well as our entire budget. And so our budget document, our operating and capital budget, some of the presentations that help us summarize it. I encourage you to go there if you haven't already to better understand the budget. After tonight, there's 3 other meetings like this, and you're welcome to attend those. You don't have to live in the district. And so we have a District 4 and a District 5. I think it's, what are the dates? Monday. Let's just get these real quick. I think Cam's going to get, what was it? Monday and Wednesday next week, City Council District 4 and 5. City Council District 4 will be at Ethel Irely Community Center. In City Council District 5, Del Mar is graciously hosting us again for the campus, so you're more than welcome to go to either of those. One other comment before I turn it over to the video is tonight, just like Monday nights and like the next 3 simulcasts or broadcasts live. Social media networks to include YouTube and Facebook, and then it's recorded, so if you missed tonight's meeting and you want to see it or you want to see it again, you can go to our website and find it there, the videos. So we do have Laura. Is Laura here? Yeah, Laura's here. We do have, if somebody needs Spanish interpretation, we have our library director who's fluent in both English and Spanish, and she can help interpret for you. So the format will be this. We're going to show you the video, and then after that, one of our staff members will pass around a microphone. There's no format. Nobody has signed up, so just kind of raise your hand. We'll kind of organically walk around. I may, the councilwoman may, and the staff may if we need to. Generally, though, we're here just to listen, not necessarily to comment. One final thing before I begin, we do have Councilman Klein. And he also attended Mondays, and we appreciate your presence again tonight. So I think that is it. Make sure we're not missing anybody to introduce. Okay? Okay, good. So with that, we'll show the video.
Corpus Christi is the 8th largest Texas city. We're making tremendous progress toward the future.
This budget continues to reverse decades of neglect by investing in our streets, our water and wastewater infrastructure, in our parks, in our libraries. Improvement and moving Corpus Christi forward.
Our city government is financially well managed, reflected by the city's strong financial profile, economic growth, and quality professional management.
This is wonderful news for the be paying lower interest rates over the life of the bonds, which will save the city and the citizens millions of dollars.
A $1.5 billion budget is proposed for fiscal year 2024, keeping our momentum moving forward. The city that combine to provide a high-quality level of service. This year's budget will continue to prioritize core services for our residents. $122 million will be invested, $46 million to general street maintenance, and $54 million toward arterials and collectors. After a review of our ongoing objective of paving more streets, a new approach has been developed to make an immediate and long-term impact.
We have a little over 1,200 centerline miles of streets to maintain at the city. To address fixing those streets a little bit more efficiently, we're going to use the pavement.
$105.7 million will go to the police department and $80 million to our fire department.
Additional officers proposed, monies for remodeling and maintaining our buildings. We have monies for additional patrol cars, funding for a new position for our police athletic league, and this service help with our new academy. It's just an exciting year. Public safety is a comprehensive thing. It's reaching out and interacting with the community, and it takes lots of resources to do that.
Currently looking to add 9 new positions. These 9 positions will help us advance towards our goal of 4-person staffing on all of our fire trucks. We're also looking to add to our fleet. All of this helps us advance the mission of the Corpus Christi Fire Department in providing the highest level of service of both fire and EMS to the community.
Enhanced quality of life is vital to our community, and our parks provide an essential connection for people of all ages and abilities to experience the benefits of vitalizing the 4 Northside community parks. By adding amenities to these recreational areas, these parks will honor the area's legacy for generations to come. We are building a park master plan, park space, and adding amenities such as splash pads, playground equipment, shade structures, and barbecue pits to provide a more enjoyable experience. Several capital improvement projects are in development to create unique opportunities. By building an aquatic center at Bill Witt Park, revitalizing our iconic water garden, adding amenities to our celebrated Cole Park, and developing our North Beach area, our We are creating better health outcomes, improving healthcare customer service, and engaging our community partners for a healthier Corpus Christi. $1.2 million will provide more wellness opportunities for developing a fitness program, replacing exercise equipment at senior centers, and offering life safety skills such as free swimming lessons. These only provide exceptional service for residents, but for our pets as well. $771,000 will go to the Animal Care Services Department to provide additional leadership and staffing, and an operational review of the department to continue to lead with care and compassion. These efforts will continue to make Corpus Christi a place people want to live, work, and visit. Over $4 million will be invested in coastal sustainability initiatives.
More street sweeping and stormwater channel maintenance. It invests in more trees to improve our air quality, and a composting program diverting tons from our landfill. With these investments, we are advancing our sustainability and coastal resiliency initiatives.
By taking care of our environment, offering leisure activities, and developing more local business endeavors more than the expansion of our convention center.
Our American Bank Center is an economic driver for our city and for the region. Plans are underway to expand and add a convention center hotel built by the private sector. This budget also includes funding to fully fund our destination management organization, Visit Corpus Christi.
This proposed budget includes property tax relief for residents. Thanks to the 88th Texas legislative session, the new school property tax rates would save average homeowners approximately. It also increases homestead exemptions and provides local options for even greater property tax relief beginning in fiscal year 2025. For the first time, the budget recommends rate equity in our water and wastewater cost of service to keep our water flowing and our infrastructure growing. To better protect and plan our future utility needs, there will be minor rate adjustments for residential customers for water, wastewater, stormwater, and solid waste. This will maintain sustainable growth and decrease flooding. The $1.5 billion fiscal year 2024 proposed budget is scheduled to be adopted by the Mayor and City Council on September 5th and would take a quality of life for all residents. We are implementing a plan for success and progressing toward a better tomorrow for all of us. For a complete list of all fiscal year 2024.com/budget 2024.
Great. Some of the team members are behind us by the equipment, and we want to thank them for doing a great job representing the budget, but also the city. We have a beautiful city with a lot of diversity, as you just saw. So before I turn it over to you all, as we promised, we have another council member who came in. That would be our mayor, Mayor Paulette Guajardo. Yeah. So we want her to just say a few words, Mayor. Yeah. What? Yeah. A few words. She's doing a great job too as mayor. And yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Forgive my tardiness. I was running late from a meeting, but I wanted to make sure things we do is to be transparent, is making the efforts to be here in front of you, making the efforts for our staff to be here so you know who is on, making certain that we hear your voice, because we have $1.5 billion of your tax dollars that are to be allocated across many departments, 29 to be exact, and you should have a say in it. So we really commend you for being here today, for taking the time. Please make sure, go and tell your friends and family, this is not the only way for your voice to be heard. You can reach out to City Manager's office, you can reach out to my office, you can reach out to your district woman's office, to the at-large councilman. You can email us, you can come to public comment. There are so many ways. Please don't ever think, and we're trying to change this mentality, they're too busy. Oh, it won't matter. You do, voice matters. And that's what happened to me. So I know exactly what one's voice means. So never think you're ignored. I text many people in this room that reach out to me. It matters. This is part of the critical process, is hearing you, seeing you, getting to know you, and making certain that you know this is a transparent progress and we care about what you have to say. So thank you for having me.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. And just for the record, the mayor won by more than 200 votes, right? The community, so, yeah. Okay, good. So we're going to begin maybe just by a raise of hand. We have a microphone, and Brianna, right, is going to pass it around. Okay.
I didn't see much of that. For example, protected bike lanes that has a large ROI. I saw every mile of protected bike lane provides 9 jobs in the local economy because, cars are getting residents. Here in Corpus Christi don't have access to a car. So that's why I think protected bike lanes are important. They have an ROI, okay? I sent you many studies from cities conspiracy websites. These are from the actual city. New York, Montreal, they all say it has an improved ROI. And if you're talking about money, we need to think about things that improve the ROI. Cars, you're talking about $1 million to combat obesity. Okay, so protected bike lanes increase ridership by 25%. These fitness programs, they don't fit in. Who's going to have this fitness program magically fit into their schedule? These seniors equipment, I agree with that. But if you have these protected bike lanes, it's good for all residents for 100 years. Accessibility for helping the health, many reasons. The local economy, 9 jobs are created for every mile created. So I sent you guys all this. So emphasize again, for example, we have a petition of more than 1,000 people who signed it. I presented it to you so you could talk about your voice matters. What about those 1,000 people that signed that petition?
Thank you. Lady in the back.
Thank you for inviting the public. And I wasn't planning to. The trash, the wastewater, the fees that are charged across the board. It seems like if you have a small 1,000 square feet, you shouldn't be charged the same amount for your trash as a giant house that has 12,000 square feet and 5 trash cans. Or maybe depends on what your water use is, I realize that. But it seems like we could have fees that were adjusted for the size of the person's home and as well as the stormwater. So literally that should be considered because we do have some people that's very, just like this person was saying, it's very challenging to make their ends meet. So I'm
going to pass this to this lady in the front.
Okay, some of you guys know some of the stuff that we've already been doing on the water fees and the wastewater fees, and I just am here tonight to speak. Steve Kepler just had knee surgery, in case you guys didn't know. Everything's good. All water rates increases are outrageous. The increase of the burden of the accounts are residential, but we only use 16% of the water. And any increase needs to be passed straight through to industry because they're using the majority of the water and they've been getting by with it too long, and we're sick and tired of having to pay increased fees every year, every second year. They want to be this big, come visit Corpus Christi, the beach city. Well, this city has just been named the poopiest city in all articles. Yeah, what an honor, right? We need to figure out where that sewage is getting into that water that's dumping out there by Cole Park. And the other thing that's concerning to me that they are measuring, they use Enterobacter to measure the amount of sewage that's going in there. And the days that it's high, nobody's telling those people that are staying in those nice resort hotels down there. I'm about ready to start telling them. So somebody needs to find out how this poop's getting in this water and being dumped out. We are sick, the people of Corpus Christi are sick to death of promises. I am sick to death. I only lived here since, and dog problem is over the freaking top. What is up with that? I mean, really, come on. I could take a truck, go down one street and fill it, literally. This is over the top. And I'm tired of it. I mean, I got sick animals coming in my backyard to die. I put up a fence so that my little 18-year-old cat could go outside and not have to be worried about, but no, can't do that. What for? Why bother? People are getting bit by these strays and nobody's showing up. Not animal control, not the popo, nobody. I mean, this Alameda, probably one of the most used streets in this freaking city, and it looks like a dang war zone. I mean, I've served in many countries, and I got to tell you, I have seen better streets. Really? Come on. And I'm going to address one other thing that's kind of concerning. This has been brought up to my attention, not just me personally, okay? A performance-based evaluation to justify a $41,000 raise. That's 12% of your income, when the average household income in Corpus Christi is $39,000. You got a raise greater than half of the people in the city. My thing is send this budget back, earn your 4
seconds.
Thank you. If you would indulge me, I have a written comment. First of all, I was speaking of the transportation in terms of buses and people getting around. I was driving behind a bus today, and I saw that you have received some kind of accolade for being the best transportation state. I took a picture of it. I don't remember everything it said, but having said that, I appreciate the bus system, the public transportation system, because we do have a great deal, absolutely, a great deal of people who either don't drive, don't have a car, don't have gas for cars. I am Alice Upshaw Hawkins. I am the president of the League of Women Voters of Corpus Christi. Thank you. So we have a couple of from our group here, and we are working very hard to continue our nonpartisan position. We are not bipartisan, we are nonpartisan. And so what across all economic statuses. So if you'll indulge me, I'm going to read. I am an educator, and I try to encourage my students to memorize, but I'm not going to do that tonight. Okay, the League of Women Voters believes in democratic government depends on informed and act for the proposed operating budget for fiscal year 2024, and the portal on the city webpage help to provide and encourage this necessary participation and information. And I do appreciate you having these meetings, because in other big organizations, there is not to have here. Appreciate your thick skin for whatever excoriations you get, but we appreciate you giving us an opportunity to blow off a little steam. The League's position statements and our commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion are the springboard for advocacy. So therefore, we have inspected the proposed statements, recognize the value of tourism and conventions as major industries necessary for the diversification of the economy of our area. Development of good quality facilities for tourists and conventions and the public, while preserving our unique natural assets. All of the areas where tourists seek to go and spend their time and money, that's a unique asset. And we need to tourism dollars to our community. And without that, we would not be thriving as we are now and being able to spend even this much money. I just want to take a sidestep, personal story. I grew up in Corpus, and I'm over 65 years old. And curbs and gutters in my neighborhood. And it's been almost that long since I've seen a street sweeper. And just recently, the street sweeper came by my litter in our, and some people may be sweeping their curbs and gutters, but others aren't. So I appreciate seeing the street sweepers coming along. The League supports the proposed fiscal year 2024 hotel occupancy tax budget, which includes funding for Texas Museum of Science and History, the Botanical Garden, and the Texas State Aquarium Museum. And I'm asking about why the was not included in that. Okay. We consider the Bayfront area to be our most unique asset, and I keep saying that. Since the Bayfront is a non-renewable asset, balance between development and protection of this valuable resource. The State League believes that we must achieve conservation, we believe that climate change and air quality are urgent issues. And if you have been watching TV lately, houses just collapse and water. I don't even need to say anymore because just the heat here that's settled over our area is here to stay. I was listening to the weather. We got another. That's really my belief why they didn't say for the next 2 weeks, because often we hear them forecasting weeks ahead. So this heat has just taken everybody, not by storm, but just it's almost unbearable. I don't want to get on my soapbox opera for that. Energy resources and energy conservation and support control of air pollution in Texas. The National League believes environment beneficial to life through the protection and management of natural resources of public interest. Based on the natural resource position statements, sustainability initiatives for fiscal year 2024. The League has a public health position statement on lead contamination potential in our communities, conduct a community needs assessment, and to hold a public health summit. Education and protective measures regarding lead in our drinking water should be included in these projects. Nursing women. When you get to be as old as I am, lead doesn't have any effect on me. But I say that because as an educator, pregnant women, mothers of childbearing age, little bitty children, young children, pre-KK, up to 4 or 5 years old, they can be harmed with the lead in the drinking water. So, the League's local position statement on public transportation, and I had to give the accolades early, for users of all ages and physical capabilities. And I echo some of the comments that have been made about the bicycling lanes, and I have had friends, important. The proposed budget includes almost $76 million for street reconstruction. We ask that the city's street construction projects include to apply standards and guidelines of the U.S. Department of Transportation and with full engagement of the city's traffic engineering department with community members of bicycling lanes, and in the making of local traffic code provisions for bicyclist protection. We also ask that the proposed budget for the police department include priority regulations to protect bicyclists. And last of all, I want to tell you, I'm going to do a yin and a yang, a push and a pull. Love to see the water rates for residential go down 10 cents or more. And I support the increase of businesses. And some of you may remember a couple of years ago, we had industries out along north part of the owing millions of dollars in unpaid bills. This is unacceptable. I have no understanding as to why they were not paying their bills. And who picked up the tabs? Me and you. So I do support the increase for industry, and I hope that you don't know earlier, they make billions of dollars, and we are the foundation from which they spring. Make them pay. And with that, I'll yield my mic.
We're going to thank you. Thank you, Ms. Atkins. Mrs. Klein in the back over there. Yeah, we
route today. I agree with many of the things that people have been saying about water rates and bicycle lanes and so forth. I want to talk about public health for a moment, though. We are underfunding our public health in this community. My understanding is that we have many, many positions that are unfilled because we aren't competitive. Nothing for mental health. I don't have the numbers for Nueces County or for actually specifically for Texas. I teach psychology. I know 13 years ago the cost number is, and of that 1.7 trillion were for indirect costs. Now what do I mean by direct and indirect costs? Direct is going to the doctor, being hospitalized, medications, and so forth. Indirect costs are time lost from work, retirement early because of stress, things like that. And for Texas, I think are underreported because we have a shortage of psychologists in this area and psychiatrists in this area. And we need to do something that will draw them to Corpus Christi. We need to have our public health office beefed up a bit. We don't do, as far as I know, we don't even do now that's something that is fairly easy to do, but then you have to have a place to refer people to after that, and I understand that. So I'm not quite sure the answer to that, but maybe if we could take some of the money from, I don't know, somewhere like promoting the use of natural gas, which we got, what, 1.37 million in the budget for that, and put
I didn't plan to say anything. I'm excited about the improvements coming to the parks. I walk in Cole Park every morning, and I'm super excited about what's going on there. Corpus Christi does bill itself as the birdiest city in America, and to sustain wildlife, we need nature parks, and we need to support our nature parks. One, I'm most familiar with Blucher Park, and it is an absolute jewel of an urban nature park. People come from all over the world in the spring during migration. There are tours that come from San Francisco. There's a couple that leads birding tours. Hunsuter Park. And I don't know if there's anything in the budget because I haven't looked at it, but Blucher Park is in need of a lot of help. And I've been talking about this to staff for 2 years and getting literally no, some help with Blucher Park.
Great, thank you, ma'am. Bree, we're going to get this gentleman up here. Yes, sir.
I'm Robert Hendricks. I live on Ohio Street. I ride my bicycle most every day, and I'm concerned about access to North Beach. I used to ride down the seawall, and I would run into tourists and people. People would ask me, well, how do they get to the aquarium? Before, we had a water taxi. And I could tell them, well, you go down there and you get on the boat, and in 10 minutes you'll be at our tourist attractions. But now with our new bridge and stuff, I'm concerned that we're removing access or easy access to North. You know, it needs to be part of the bus system or something where we can get people over to our big tourist attractions. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, great comment. We have had comments with the RTA about that, trying to bring that water taxi back. The new bridge obviously would be bigger and longer to get over. We'll have a dedicated walking lane, but still it's a long way. Great. Do we have some more comments? Okay, go ahead, Bree.
Thank you. I'm a newer resident of District 2, but I wanted to talk about homeless services in the budget. I noticed that that was missing from the video. So I wanted to call attention to a few, quite frankly, disturbing trends that I've seen with the city. So on the very first city council meeting of this year on January 10th, Guajardo, that phase 2 of the Salvation Army funding was going to include an open entry or low barrier shelter. Because we knew that the summer was coming and that the heat was going to be unbearable. Try going outside for even just 30 minutes in the middle of the day and staying out there. Now imagine if you're hungry, imagine if you have no support system. That is what houseless neighbors in the city are facing. City fund the shelter because the city is accountable to us. We can use our voting power, decide whether or not we want to keep our representatives or not. Putting this onto a nonprofit organization removes that level of accountability from the public. So we actually don't have any updates from them. And so I had a houseless neighbor on the porch of my office building, and I sat with her and talked to her for hours. Services that she was receiving in the city. She had nowhere to go, so I bought her food, I let her stay and let her rest, because as we know, the RTA unfortunately made it a priority to put to prevent people from simply resting. So it is very upsetting. And so we come to July 25th, right? After we were promised that this was being taken care of, that Salvation Army was working on it. So when that houseless neighbor actually was there with me, I called Salvation Army, I called Metro Ministries to try and find her a bed. Nobody. Because that's the phase that they were going to add 120 plus beds. They said that they had no idea what I was talking about. And then when they finally talking about, they said, oh, we haven't heard anything about that. So no progress made even on phase 1. So then July 25th, the budget workshops come around. Mayor Paula Guajardo asked Constance Sanchez, the chief financial officer for the city, what's going on with Salvation Army. And Constance said that they being Salvation Army, questioned even the viability of phase 1. So no progress has been made on phase 1, let alone they're not even thinking about phase 2. And the mayor's response was, well, haven't we already given them the $1 million? And Constance said no. So that's what I mean about transparency. Unfortunately, pawning this off onto nonprofits to solve a city problem, to solve a public problem, they can't even keep up with those updates. How are we supposed to hold anyone accountable? What do we tell people when they ask for our help? It's really outrageous. So I want to know, what is the timeline?
He relies on over 30 nonprofits to help us with our homeless services, so that's not unusual. This city, we've actually, since I've been here, we added or redirected 3. At this point, 4 years ago, we had 0. So we do have that, but so the city doesn't have a lot of direct service. In fact, very little when it comes to homelessness. So we do rely, that's not unusual, on the private or nonprofit sector to help us in this area. And so similarly in those efforts, we did work with the Salvation Army to help us with this low barrier shelter. The money's still available. We have the money at this point. They were unable to fulfill their idea of turning in what was a gymnasium into a low barrier shelter. Good option because the building's there, was some rehabilitation that was needed rather than building a brand new one. Because of constraints within the building and their own business program. And if we have to, Plan C will be next as well. So their inability to fulfill the commitment happened recently, and now we're moving forward to seeing what other nonprofit know and doing the work that there's better locations than others. So we're going back to that list and seeing. The good thing is we still have the money. Now we'll move forward with the next option for that low barrier shelters to at least get people out of the sunlight and the heat and provide some level of comfort, like a restroom, water, that type of thing. So that's what we're doing, moving forward now with a different plan, given that. Yeah, we can talk later, absolutely. Excuse me? For the food? Oh, feedback, yes ma'am. Sorry, I'm getting old myself here, so I can't hear. Yes, yeah, you got it. Mr. Samuels, we're gonna pass him, oh, who's next? Oh, okay, go ahead, sorry about that.
Hi, okay, just making sure it was on. To echo a lot of the concerns that I've heard tonight of protected bike lanes, which, if nothing else, will make people at least consider driving a little better, because I've seen some bike lanes that just they hate bike lanes so much, and then they ruin their car. Incredible, but that's not what this is about. But yes, more. So many politicians in our city have run on addressing the homelessness issue, and there's just been very little, if any, progress at all. And I know that you're working with, nonprofit entities who are already in the business of, helping folks who have no. I want the city to do it. I don't want a nonprofit to do it, because while nonprofits do great work, nonprofits are, again, not accountable to me. They're accountable to their board. And also have a known history of turning away folks who are queer, who are trans, who are not open or not welcoming to their Christian proselytizing, while the city would be in a lot more trouble if they did something like that. And I understand that these things take time. You might need to work with profits, or the city is first and foremost a public entity, is it not? It's a government. I'm not living in a corporation, and I know that there's talks of revenue generation, that things cost money, but I don't want to live in a city that's run like a business, because a business's purpose is to make profit. A city's purpose is to have people, to let so many problems are just coming down to incentivizing profit over people. And homeless services have been less than that of animal control. And they've been infinitely less than that for, say, the department. even though nationwide crime rates have just gone down and continue to go down. So it doesn't seem like in my opinion, I feel there could be a little belt tightening in the police department, especially if that money would go toward other crime prevention, the shelter, of course, because just based on numerous studies, part of the reason people turn to crime is because they're in desperate situations. In fact, a good reason that, like, a majority of it is because they're desperate. People steal because they can't afford to buy food. People start robbing because they have no money and they need to make rent. They've been outside all day. They have nowhere to sleep. They haven't been able to sleep. They don't have the support they need for their mental health crises. That's why so much crime happens. It's just because people, in that case, things like homeless services, parks, places to sleep, places to just lay down for a minute, armored SUVs, but they make a bigger difference. At least that's how I feel.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Samuels, or? Okay.
Thank you very much. My name is Samuel Andre Frey. I greatly appreciate this opportunity. Why I think the way I think. I retired after 30 years as an Army colonel. So I've lived overseas for over 23 years. I've been in former communist nations. I've been in peacekeeping operations, things of that nature. So I have a perspective that's slightly different than maybe people who've never lived outside of the country. Our nation is the best nation in the world. And it's that way because the founders understood that they developed a constitutional republic for a reason, not a democracy. John Adams said that our Constitution is for a moral and religious people. It's wholly inadequate for the governance of any other. They understood that a person's belief in a creator God was the ultimate thing that keeps them from doing wrong, and it keeps them in check. So with that in mind, there are a few things I have concerns. Vice President of Terramar Properties Owners Association in 6 neighborhoods in the also Bay Area. And the one thing besides the fact it's a property owner association with the neighbors, so we keep our residents clean and purposeful just from the fact that you understand and you work with your neighbors, picking up the trash and that type of things. So that was, I see, which there are a few things, and I'm going to kind of lay them out, but I do look for some feedback on at least on one of them, and I'll tell you which one. First of all, you hear a lot of rhetoric and a lot of things about climate change, and I personally see it as Chicken Little, the sky is falling, because it stokes fear and things of that nature. The reality is the earth exists. Seasons, planting in different seasons, cold and winter will not cease as long as the earth exists. But there are weather patterns. Things happen. I remember in 1970, there was a great 88 that summer, the last summer I had in the United States for a while. It was 75 degrees on the 25th of December. Another thing I witnessed was in 2003 when I was deployed, not have air conditioning in the homes. That's one of the issues. However, in 2010, what took place? Record snowfall. Snow months on end. Cities ran out of salt within a month. Within a month, all the cities are out of salt. Just to give perspective, it's weather patterns. That's what takes as much as we think we will. We cannot keep the Sahara Desert dust from coming over here. It's weather patterns. Volcanic eruptions put so much ash and gapping regularly, but the environment bounces back. Why? Because God said it that way. Now, the point I want to make is dealing with the sustainability It's not going to be a department, so thank you all for taking that off the plate. However, this whole Sustainability and Planning Innovation Office is looking at assess initiatives. But what is taking place is opposed to having a department which is enlarging our city budget and another almost $5 million, which is taxpayer money. For example, I would like to know what is a Gulf Beach survey, a tree canopy survey, a light up survey. What is that all about? What is air quality monitoring? It have something to do with that? Go ahead.
Yeah, so the three studies are, I'll explain them. So the beach survey study is on a Gulf-facing beach down by the sea. The beach length and width to see is it eroding, or not is it, but how much is it eroding? We know it's shrinking. And so how much, because we need to re-nourish it. That's what that survey is going to tell us. What's the health of the beach in terms of the amount of beach sand that's there? The tree canopy survey is this city council, after I recommended it for 4 of the 5 budgets, we're planting hundreds of trees. To do this, we really want some guidance on where are the areas of vulnerability, where, kind of like a heat map, where in the city do we have the need for more trees compared to not? So that'll help guide us in smart investments, financial investments. And then the third one is air quality. What was the third survey? Which
yes,
one?
light up.
Okay, the light up. So this city just replaced a lot of money to light up every night. We're using low energy and longer lasting LED white lights that give you a much brighter light. We have people shaking their head up here saying, great move. So there are areas in District 1, even in District 2. And so that survey is going to help us to see where are the gaps and what's the highest priority. So again, we can make good investments and figure out where should we put more lights. Firms have to do that. We want to know, are there times in the day or of a day where the air quality is so poor that we should advise the community about you might want to stay inside if you have respiratory issues. So that's why we're doing that, to help awareness so that the public can be of respiratory issues. They might not want to go out.
Is that related to like pollen?
No, it's more related to emissions, to not a lot of movement of the air. So we know we have industry here, even our own vehicles. And so if the air is not moving, if there's not a lot of wind, you could have high ozone days. It could be things like the African extreme impacts on persons that have breathing problems or respiratory issues. And so that's what that's meant to do.
Okay, because I remember, I don't really watch the television hardly at all, but I know that certain news stations, they actually put out quality air, like as far as high pollen,
right,
and that type of thing, Sahara issues and that type of thing.
Right.
So is that's not efficient?
But this is to help to improve our air quality. Many cities, we've toured some cities or have spoken with some cities that are much smaller than this. They have very nice air monitoring stations for the city. We heard the local control is best, and so if we don't have control of information, it's hard to tell our community. You might want to be careful if it's a bad day outside.
And then the last point on that, and then I want to sit down.
Yes, sir.
But the other thing, there's a part of that sustainability piece is within the budget. It has street sweeping, stormwater channel maintenance, is that composting? Yeah,
right,
composting program,
right,
that type of thing.
Yes, sir.
And maybe I'm wrong, but don't we have a department that does those type of things already? And why are
we are
thing or ensuring that they're doing what they need to do?
Yes, sir. We are, Mr. Fryer. So all that, there's several initiatives in that $4 million that are going to a city. Actually, they're all going to a city department. Many of whom, though, already performed. When she was 10, that's the last time she saw a street sweeper. And so now we have them back, but we just began, but we need to do more. The goal is to sweep our residential streets. Budget adds sweepers so we can do them twice a year. Same thing with the arterial and collectors. That's not only aesthetically pleasing, it looks better. We have a clean community. All that debris as well. So the departments that will perform those functions will continue to perform them. There is no new department in this budget, as we mentioned. One of our who's here today talked about that at City Council, which is that we have 29 departments and a lot of smart people in them, and they're doing a lot of this stuff already. And so we're continuing a lot of these initiatives to have a better.
Dealing with the health department.
Okay.
I know that Dr. Khan, she was basically hired out of state, and she was known for a lot of grants when it comes to vaccines, and particularly the COVID vaccine.
Right.
My concern is that our health department is not doing enough to actually equip and educate January 2020 or 2022 and actually got a citizens initiative up, but the council did absolutely nothing. It was about, hey, give alternative treatments for unlawful the way it was put out, shots with vaccines, or as far as the COVID shots, which are mRNA technology, gene therapy. A lot of people now are suffering the consequence after having heart attacks and all types of stuff. 18-year-olds having a heart attack, 16-year-olds having heart attacks. That is not normal. Myocarditis, pericarditis is real, and they've known that those things are taken. And the public health district do more as far as educating on supplements, things that actually improve health. I mean, they gave us a shutdown, say you can't go to the beach. You can't. It's designed to do. So I just want to bring that point out. And for anyone who wants to know, you can go to fullytreatable.org, and this gives you a point where you can get a lot of information as far as keeping yourself healthy, right, especially when now I've heard that they're saying COVID is coming back.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Samuels. Yes, sir.
Conversation just brought it home for me, at least in terms of supporting sustainability initiatives. Thank you for being able to communicate through those things. I think it's been really important for folks to be able to specifically dive a little bit deeper. Now, especially because we've been established as a city since 1852, and in that history, our city has never taken such a bold step forward in terms of addressing some of our environmental, whether it's street sweeping, air quality, water quality, and these initiatives definitely at least move us in that right direction. I also want to mention that the 4%, 0.3% of the overall budget, that's nothing. But certainly we know that we're going to take what we can get, and this is going to definitely in front. That Gulf Beach survey one is definitely something that I advocate a lot for, because we know, based on a city council meeting, that we were able to, a presentation from Brett Oding in tourism, which means people are coming here for our beaches and our bays. If we're not maintaining those beaches and our beaches, if we're not nourishing them like we should, that survey to specifically do that, and that costs money, and that's exactly what these initiatives are for. I won't go into deeper with the rest of them, but these are all really critical. I think we need, but this is certainly the right step that is going to push us in the right direction. It's going to lay the foundation for us to have a lot of data for the city to make well-informed decisions in the future. City, I know it's only 0.3%, but I'm sure we can do better next time. They're all really critical. And then lastly, in terms of the water rates, I'm a big fan of equitable water rates, and certainly I think it's about time industry.
Yeah, I'll try to keep mine shorter than I originally planned because it's late. But I would like to say I appreciate the city trying to establish some equity in the water rates. I don't know if I'm keeping this too far away or not, but so I appreciate that effort to try to make it more equitable, kind of like if you go to Whataburger and he still pays $5 a burger, he doesn't get a discount on that. And maybe another thing to consider is like tier the water rates too, so when people go over a certain everybody, so that would encourage conservation. Electrical utilities do that in certain states as well. Now move on to my normal comments. A couple of things. They wanted to buy a couple of diesel golf carts for $34,000. And then just last week at the meeting, the chief of the fire department said they were trying to install some tubing so the exhaust doesn't go into the fire department from the diesel trucks, and when they're leaving and returning the station, which I thought was great. And he said it was to prevent cancer. Well, the Parks Department has all these diesel Gulf, even have the robust emission systems that the fire trucks do. And most of the new fire trucks all use DEF, which is a diesel exhaust fuel additive, mostly made of urea. So the Parks Departments don't even use the DEF on theirs. And then I was just at Lowe's the other day, and I noticed they had electric golf carts that would meet the needs of the Parks Department, and there were 10,000. So I think we could do better to help the health of our Parks Department workers. They should get the same treatment as our fire department workers, which is to prevent cancer. I did notice the other day, I read the Chicago plans to plant 75,000 trees the next 4 years. They only have a 40% greater land mass than we do. Why I'm talking about that is because at that Parks meeting, one of the city staff said that they preferred the shade structures because you get shade right away. They weren't big into trees. And obviously, somebody 10, 20, 30 years ago said the same thing. And I'm hopeful everyone will be here in 10 years. And trees provide much more than shade. They clean the air, they provide oxygen, spending time around health, decreased blood pressure, and stress. I think, if I recall right, the committee was thinking about two, and I would say we could plant 8,000 $100 trees for the same amount and have a lot more shade. Then just a specific things on page 126 of the proposed budget. I noticed the gas marketing, they had $1.37 million to market natural gas. And it's estimated, the 22-23 estimate was for $935,000, which would be an increase of $434,731. And I really think it should be zero, because the gas department, there aren't other people trying to sell gas to citizens and businesses of this city. So I think we should have a zero marketing budget for gas, and we could use that for the homeless and protected bike lanes that other people are looking to have. And on page 75 of the budget, for the legal revenue, I noticed there were no fees in there for people that have paid fees for the Public Information Act requests. That doesn't show where does that money go, and how much it is, and what's budgeted for that. So that's one question. And then I had another question. I think these are both for we have any special accounts? A lot of cities and companies have special accounts for unusual things. So like if there's a storm or a hurricane, to that special project or special account are accounted for in one special account. So we know that winter storm costs the time or whatever so much money, or that hurricane costs so much money, or that oil spill may have cost so much money, and all the staff went for that. And then maybe, we could bill, people or companies that did the oil spill. So that's all. I'm just wondering if we have any special. Where's the revenue from all the people that have paid for Public Information Act requests?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Weber. So we do set up special accounts so that we can track those expenditures. And so when we submit them to the federal government, we help to reduce our costs here locally. So we do that frequently. And we'll get you the answer on the revenues. They go into the general fund, not necessarily into the city attorney's budget. They go into the bigger general fund under fees and fines, probably under that area. And then they use for fees could be, yeah. Yeah. We'll look at it with you. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for being here. We're big advocates of more trees. That's why in the past 4 years we've planted hundreds of trees, and there's more money in this budget under our environmental coastal sustainability initiatives to plant even more. Mm-hmm. Great. So we're past our time. We did want to be mindful of everybody. We have some young children there. We know school began, and your daughter crowd. So unless there's any quick comments, quick statements, we do want to be mindful of people's time. We said we'd be here for about an hour. Do we just have one or two? Okay. Since your daughter was so good, we're going to let you.
So much for letting me have this brief comment. I just want to talk, I know that some believe that crime rate is going down and perhaps it's not a concern. It is a concern, I feel, not the petty robbery, murder, rape, things of that nature. That is a significant concern for the citizens of this city. And within this, one of the biggest barriers to really such a small forensics team for the police department that we do have. I'm so encouraged that we added those 9 positions to the police department. I know that they do a lot of good and a lot of outreach. The more and targeted specifically towards adding more members on that forensics team, you know, just people who can look at evidence, really get justice for people who need justice. Really everyone involved, and that's my one brief little comment.
Yeah, real good. Thank you so much. Okay, just one more.
Just one more.
Yeah,
Yay, thank you. My name is Julie Rogers. I'm going to try and make this very quick. I moved down here after working here for 10 years. So I've been here since 2017, and I worked with the National Nurses United because of the quality of life. And when I got here in 2017, I kind of wondered, should I backpedal? Because I got on the library board, and I love it, so I support the library budget. But I was very shocked to find out how chronically underfunded it was. And we've made strides. How little public participation and transparency there is in our government at that point. And it's changed quite a bit. I don't know if people were here before and after, but it's totally different. We came down from San Antonio. It's a very well-run city. He was trained there, and he brings those skills here. Also, when I wanted to run back to San Antonio, I thought, dear God, don't let him run back. So please, please stay and give him that raise. But I just want to say that I firmly support on that, but I really appreciate that you're going to staff up the fire trucks. I wish it wasn't a goal, but we could just go ahead and do it. That's not right. But mostly that's the hot tax, the citywide sustainability initiatives, but that has to include more in cooling centers. I also wanted to point out that there are solar-powered trash compactor cans, and they have lids, and they push down the trash so it doesn't blow everywhere, and that's kind of what happens to me. I live in Uptown on a historic street with lots of dips, and the trash goes right into the drains, no matter how much you can. But if we could get some solar-powered trash compactor cans with covers, the animal care services budget's great, the Parks and Rec capital improvements. I do believe that South They don't really have trash cans. Blucher Park has 2. There's no water fountains. There's no bathrooms and shade structures or trees at South Bluff. If you're going to plant trees, plant some at South Bluff. They had to take some down because they were diseased. The health department budget is good. They're doing the best they can. There's lots of fitness programs, and there has been a lot more since the city. I firmly support establishing equity within water rate structures, especially for large volume industrial users outside the city limits, that they pay more in fees. And I do ease that pain, including giving non-uniform city employees a COLA along with their proposed merit pay. And when it comes to unhoused, I live in a neighborhood where there's a lot of unhoused people. Have no problem with it. They do need more services and providing those. And I want to give a big shout out to the temporary storage units that's there. The city's trying to figure out how to serve people. We just have to kind of all do it together.
Hey, that's a good way to end the evening. Thank you, everybody. We'll be at District 3 tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, so we'll see you then if you want to talk then. Thank you.